Good afternoon, everybody. All my truckers out there, I want to let y'all know the greatest tool you can ever have if you're pulling reefer or dry-bys is a weigh scale. Now, for those of you that don't know what a weigh scale is, or load scale, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to show you. This right here will save you a lot of time and money, depending on how you look at it. But here it is, right? See this? This is what they call a load scale. Mine's is kind of dirty, don't mind that. But this tells you the weight that is on your tandems. Whenever you get loaded, this shows you the weight on your tandems. So, with that being said, if it's calibrated, you should only calibrate it one time and one time only. If it's calibrated right, you wouldn't ever have to go into a scale. You hear that? If it's calibrated right, you wouldn't have to ever scale out. That cuts out having to go to a scale. Now, in this calibration, to cut out going to a scale, to have it to save your money, you get it scaled when you get loaded. It says it in the direction. You get it scaled when you get loaded. Now, my preference is any weight over 40,000 pounds, scale it out. That's your max load, right? Take that number, what's on your drives, plug it in to that. I'm gonna show you where to plug in. You see this little screw? You turn this little screw right here, and that's gonna move that needle to wherever that weight is. Now, I know mine look like it's overweight, but it's really not. So, I'll show you this other part, and this helps all the newbies too. So, once you done got that scale ticket, and you done calibrated that to your tandems, you see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? 3, 6. Now, for each hole, each one of those holes, now I could be wrong on this, moves about a good 750 pounds, each one of those holes. So let's say if your weight is 45,000 pounds, you should be, with the given current standards, I think it's you should be anywhere around the 10th or 11th hole. There was a point in time where you could have it in the 12th hole and ride it in the 13th hole. Now you see a lot of drivers riding in with their tandem slid all the way back, but they have to make the turns extra wide because they didn't slide the tandems to the hole that they needed to be. So if you slide those tandems to the right hole, you can make your turns. It makes it easy. All right. Remember, each hole is at least 750 pounds. Now, as you can see, mine is in the 4th hole, but that's based off of how they load the trailer. Most of the weight that they loaded my trailer is in the nose of the trailer. So I had to slide it to the 4th hole. Now, when all the weight is in the beginning of the trailer, the nose of the trailer, you know, they have many different names for it, but I call it, you know, pin weighting, because the simple fact is it makes it, let me get back in the truck. It makes it harder to basically move the tandems anywhere else. But if you got that load scale, it makes it easier for you to know what weight you is. So, giving reference, my weight on this load that I'm hauling, sorry about that, the weight that I'm hauling, I'm finna show it to you for yourself. The weight that I'm hauling, you can see it right there. 43,000. 43,000. And as you can see, I'm in the 4-fold. But as what does it say? 34,000 pounds, just a little bit up above it. You see it? It's not quite there, but it's almost there. Now, even at a full tank of fuel, I'm still above legal weight on each one of my axles. All right, you guys, any veteran driver, I've been driving for 12 years now. You ask any veteran driver that has that, and they'll tell you that's the best invention that they done came out with for truck drivers to help us actually get down the road a lot quicker. Now, if you don't have that, you're gonna have to scale out every time. But I can save you some time on that too. Right? Say you get your load, right? Now, before you even get loaded, ask the shipper which way they're gonna load the trailer. All right? Because there's multiple ways they can load it to help you get down the road. Now, if they say they're gonna load most of the weight in the nose of the trailer, that's not a good thing for you. The only time that that's good is when you're going out to California, you're going on the West Coast. It's not good for you, right? Or somewhere, some places in the Northeast, it's not good for you. Now, if it's under 40,000 pounds, it doesn't really matter much, but it matters if most of the weight is on the nose. Okay? No, my bad. If most of the weight is on the tail. Now, if they say they're gonna spread the weight out, you'll be fine. It don't matter which hole you go be in, because you'll be able to tell just by pulling. But like I said, if you don't have that load scale or any kind of scale to tell you exactly what's on the drives, look at the weight and ask them how they loaded it. If you get a preloaded trailer, ask them how they loaded it. If they don't tell you, they say, oh, I don't know. Okay. Slide the tandems to the 6 hole, pull, do 5 miles an hour, and stop. That'll tell you exactly where the weight is. Or do it in reverse. Now, if the weight is evenly distributed, you'll be able to feel it. If it's in the tail, you'll be able to feel it because it'll be heavy. If it's in the front, you'll be able to feel it because, it'd be harder for you to stop. Now, if, say for instance, you have it to where the trailer itself is loaded where the weight is evenly distributed. If it's 40,000 pounds and above, you can get away with riding around in the 10th hole. If it's evenly distributed, meaning if most of the weight is spread out to where the heavier things are in the middle of the trailer versus being on the tail or at the nose, then you could ride with it being in the 10th hole. You can ride with it being in the 11th hole. You might get away with being in the 9th hole, but I don't recommend it. 10th hole to the 11th hole, you'll be fine. Anything above 40,000 pounds, anything below 40,000 pounds, then all of the other ones before the 10th hole will do you just fine. So I just wanted to say this because there's a lot of new drivers out here. Then there's a lot of veteran drivers that they just look at it and say, oh, well, I'm gonna just go scale out. Well, shit, if you want to save your $10, $12, so you can go spend it on food, that's it. I've been doing that since I first started driving, which was back in 2010. 2010 is when I first started, and I've been doing it ever since then. I have not gotten an overweight ticket at all doing that system. It would save you a lot of time and money just doing it that way. And like I say, anything over 40,000 pounds, 10th hole, if it's evenly distributed. Now, if it's like my trailer is now, if it's all the way in the front, you can move that mug to the 4th hole, 5th hole, and it'll show you seen just exactly how it was in the early part of this video. If the weight is all the way in the tail, then you have no choice but to go and figure out from scaling where you need to slide the tandems, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get it. Now, most shippers do not ship with the weight in the tail. They don't do that because they don't want you coming back to have to reload. So they try to evenly distribute it from the middle to the nose of the trailer. So I just wanted to let y'all know that and get this word out there, because a lot of veteran drivers and trainers, they have these other drivers, these new drivers getting out here trying to learn the business, and they riding around with the tandem slid all the way back, so they tearing up poles and all of that stuff. I'm just saying this because I've seen it. I had a guy take out my whole front end because he had the tandem slid all the way back. And you know, most of the time the guys who can't figure that out, right, with the tandem slid all the way back to keep from having to deal with that. But they get overweight tickets. You got a better chance of getting an overweight ticket than any other person that know how to slide them tandems. Each hole is 750 pounds. So why not slide them tandems to the proper hole? And you can get a citation for not having it in the right hole. It's just a lot of DOT people, a lot of DOTs, they won't mess with you on it. They don't care for it. But when they have them blitzes, oh, they looking out for those. They really do. So that's my message. Y'all take it how y'all want. Keep it sunny side up, truckers.